Oh, it's just.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a spreadsheet. There's a quote from Quirk online.
And then all the. Oh, yeah.
The other truck, the truck is
It wasn't as windy as they said.
Yeah. I'll put
so
that in.
rusty. So rusty. And it was supposed to be replaced.
Yeah.
2 years ago, and they pulled it out.
Yeah. You do.
You looking for that?
Now we're paying. Yeah. Joe's been having to do something pretty hard with the past.
I don't have any time. I left my phone in my truck.
6:01. Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead, sorry. We're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is welcome to the December 16th, 2024 regular meeting of the Lyman Select Board. This meeting is a public proceeding and is being recorded. And if everyone could join me for the Pledge of Allegiance to start off, that'd be great. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll go ahead and jump right in with item number 1, which is a presentation on Town Cloud. Angela, I think you're kick us off for that.
I'm up. Kind of sticking me in the face. Is Dave here with us?
Yes.
So, as you all know, we do have a financial system here. We've had it for quite some time now. And through the years, we've come into some hiccups and things like that. Some of your board members and some of our past board members have asked me, is there anything else out there? And I said, you're going to pay twice as much to go to the next step. There are some I wouldn't recommend at all. So you would pay twice as much until today. There's a new program out there called Town Cloud. It's a new financial program. They're working in Maine. Ravi Jackson is here with us from Town Cloud.
Hello.
He lives in Maine. He's worked in many aspects in Maine government. So he's here to answer any questions that you need answered. Since 2021, there's been 3 different types of versions of our current financial software. And in 2021, there was the current version. I'm trying to be careful not to mention any names. We've had 40 updates since we've installed that in July of 2021. That's almost one a month. We're on version number 62. We've had some hiccups. We had a version installation, an update installation last Monday, and it messed up some of my reports, some of Sue's reports. We're getting them fixed, but we keep running into these issues. I've spoken with Ravi quite a bit about this new program. There are several towns in Maine who are using it. We are at a very lucky spot right now. They're offering towns a 3-year deal for a cost of $15,000 a year if we get in now. Of 10 years. For 10 years, if we get in now. That's going to be a huge savings. I handed out a spreadsheet today, what we currently have with our modules. I backed out anything that we've added since so that we can get a fair estimate. And it looks like our average is 8.33% increase. So then what I did, I carried it out 3 years. And you'll see in year 3, we'll be saving $9,000 by switching over. What we're going to ask for tonight is we're going to ask for the deposit. If we can get a deposit today and get locked in, then we can spend the next 6 months looking at this system, seeing how it works. This deposit is 100% refundable. So we'd like to do that. we have money in our computer reserve account to the tune of $20,000. We'd like to take $7,500 from that, lock in with Ravi and with TownCloud, and hopefully move on to better solutions for the town and for the staff and to benefit every one of us. So we'd be looking for a motion to make that happen. Is there anything we can answer for you?
Does this completely replace the system that you're using right now?
Yes.
Okay.
So it doesn't leave any gaps of service programs that we're using, like pieces of it?
No.
Okay.
Are there overlaps in payments between Trio and the new service?
We might have a little bit of an overlap, but we're going to work through that with Ravi to see if we won't have that at all. Might be a couple of months to get the audit done.
And how long has this service been in?
I'm going to let you come up to the mic.
Can you repeat the question, please?
How long has the service been in service?
So the financial application, which is part of our bigger ERP suite, has been out there for about 2.5 years. In Maine, we just launched it this summer. So it's based on a project we have in other parts of the country. We've tailored this for Maine, with the Maine solutions being that it has additional functionality for the clerks, so the counter transactions. And that's actually based on a different parallel solution we have for billing and collections, licensing, things of that nature. So it's a new product from Maine, but it's been out in the wild for much longer. And as a company, we've done this for the last 40-something years. So.
Chair?
Yep.
What other towns have adopted this or are thinking about this, or at least, if not naming the town specifically, are there other towns in Maine comparable in size to Lyman that are considering this?
I think most of them are a little big. I think there's so Farmington or Durham or Paris and Solon is probably
Solon.
kind of your size, right? That's probably-
It's pretty small. Someone's about
Yep.
maybe 900.
Okay, so Madison may be closer, I guess. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Okay.
So, and then Dayton down the road is put this on the agenda for the 23rd as well. I believe she calculated a current hour savings of at least 1,000 hours a year. That's what she would save from the hassle they currently have with their existing solution to what she'll have here, because we have a cloud-based multi-tenant solution. So it's hosted on AWS. So all the data is in one place as opposed to multiple entities. It's just modern technology.
If I may follow up, so far have you merged information data from the program that we have here into yours?
We have, yes.
Seamless?
Yeah, actually, it took a little longer than we thought because we had to adjust the chart of accounts to be more compliant with GeoFOA national standards. So it took us about 2.5 to 3 weeks to actually get that done. But the migration process with our implementation wizards, it's pretty straightforward. So it's just like an Excel to an Excel talking to each other, essentially, to dumb it down a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
Does it work for all departments?
Yes.
Like CEO, I saw CEO in the paperwork, but like assessor,
Yes.
okay.
It does. It's based on permissions or roles. So it's a subscription model. So you set your permissions, your roles as to who gets to have access to which pieces of the solution. But you as an administrator have access to everything, for instance.
Okay.
May I just interject?
Yeah, sure.
So I was speaking with Lori earlier today, and Madison's assessor is also Dayton's assessor. So that would be beneficial, and we wouldn't bother. She's contracted.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't want to bother her unless we were serious about moving forward with this.
Mhm.
And I can certainly provide those kind of references if you want to see.
So I saw on, I think it was one of these. Keep your community involved and engaged with real-time alerts via email and text. So does that mean that we could get rid of the MailChimp?
Actually, if I may interject, that's
Yeah.
technically a separate solution. That's part of an Engage suite. So that's a 311
Okay.
product that you're referencing there. Town Cloud as a company doesn't just do ERP financial solutions. That is obviously our bigger product line. With billing and collections is another line, and meter billing is another one. We also do websites, agendas, and 311, which is what you're referencing. And that
Okay, so
includes
we don't get
notifications.
this.
You do not. It's just the financial suite.
Okay, so
itself.
what else in here do
It's
we
the
not?
green tab and main clerk suite is the one that's most pertinent to you.
Okay, so we don't get this one,
I don't see what you're looking
finance
at.
suite,
Yes, sorry, that is it. That's
Okay.
the basis of the whole product. So those green tabs are,
services.
but you're more than welcome to consider Agenda 311 on our website. I'm quite happy to put you those down the road if you want.
But this is not. We don't get
So there are other options that will do other things that we don't have at the moment that we could certainly buy into once we've gone through this process.
What are those buy into? What are those costs?
Agenda actually starts at $50 a month for Agenda app, Agenda management. We find that saves about 4 to 6 hours on average for most entities, and
Okay.
websites can start at $100 a month.
Okay. So anything we would want to add on, we would be over the 15,000.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Jeanette,
Yes, Dave.
the extras that we can add on, if you added on everything that you feel that we could utilize, would it come to the amount or below Trio?
It probably would, but it also would be giving you way more functionality than you currently have, because you'd be having to say, oh, we'd be replacing your website, your agenda management software, your 311 notification, and your financial suite, which is our goal ultimately. But yes, theoretically, you could be right around the same money that you pay for existing financial software and have everything.
If I may,
Mhm.
some of those add-ons we don't use now. I don't see that we would use in the future, or at least
Like
anytime soon. The 311 is very similar to Text My Gov, and when we tried Text My Gov, we just didn't get the participation that made it beneficial.
Yeah.
Not to say we couldn't try it again down the road, but I don't know that I would jump into that if we know that, we struggled with that type of service before. So I think the package he's offering is, it's everything that we're using right now for a lower cost.
That's right.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
yeah, this would be 15,000 locked in for 10 years. No foreseeable add-ons.
No, that includes the implementation, your hosting, your support, training, everything else. I do carry this as the probably second to last small town that we actually let in. It's given us enough insight into the smaller communities. We're actually going to be mostly deal with the larger entities like Portland and the Water Hills and Portsmouth. So that's really where our product sits. It's a much, much more robust solution. So yes, you get everything for a steeply discounted price.
Your company is headquartered in Colorado, is that correct?
Technically, we have an older office in Colorado. We're actually in Conway, in New Hampshire. But my boss there, who's the founder, lives in Norway, and so does Chris, and so do I, while I live in Russia. And most of our companies otherwise spread out. So development occurs in Colorado still, and in Florida.
Okay, thank you.
So this product is all inclusive. There will be things that we won't use where they're actually targeting larger cities. There are things they need, but we're going to get access to them. It's not that we're going to have to buy into that. We're not going to have to buy modules like we have been doing. We're just going to be getting it because other places need it as well.
Also, the 15,000 offer ends at the end of December, and then
That's
we
correct.
start going up to its original price, which matches our current one, which is about 25. So that's why we're bringing it now, because they're trying to network with smaller communities and let them in at this rate. So we just didn't want to pass up an opportunity to consider that.
That is correct, yes. Yeah, I had a few months grace to get people in.
Does anyone else have other questions?
I don't.
Dave, are you all set?
Yes, I would make a motion to accept.
And that's for the deposit, half the 7,500 out of the reserve account that she spoke of. What's the proper name of the reserve account?
It's the computer reserve.
The computer reserve? Would that be in your motion?
Yes,
I'll
Thank
second
you.
it.
Okay, discussion on that?
Madam Chair, could that motion be amended to read fully refundable? Just to specify that contingency?
Dave?
Dave?
fully refundable. I'm sorry, I don't understand you, Joe.
I think that's good, because when I go to check the minutes, it's gonna get really confusing for me.
Okay.
But I got the gist of it, yeah. Okay, thank you, Vicki.
But that's all, it's already written into the paperwork, that it's fully refundable.
Nice for the public to see that
Okay.
in the minutes.
Since we're in discussion, my only concern is the charter that we're supposed to have, price quotes. And we don't.
Well, so like Jeanette had explained before, we do know what other companies offer.
Mhm.
You know, we can grab those quotes. The reason why we hadn't gone with them is because they were far too expensive.
I had an example for me.
Yeah.
For a comparable product to what we.
Oh, yeah, sorry, we need you at the
We
mic
have
just
people
so that it
listening.
can be-
I'm sorry, for a comparable
okay.
product to actually what we're offering, I'll just say a nearby town, but wealthier town than this, was quoted $240,000 for implementation and $100,000 per year. And so there really aren't that many options for towns generally for this type of software to run
Yeah.
what you're asking for. So really it's
Yeah,
ourselves.
I'm not
and-
questioning the price by any means.
Hopefully that helps.
I fully am on board with that
It
piece of it. This is what we.
I completely understand your
Obligated
concern
to-
with that. I've worked with several myself. Ravi and I'm like, oh, I remember that one. And I just think it's an important piece that we don't really want to go with the lowest bidder either. And I fully understand you want to abide by that.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
not saying that we have to go with the lowest price or that we're, I know my track record says I do tend to go that route, but anyway, I'm just referencing what the charter says, so
Mhm.
that's my discussion for this. Does
Would it
anyone
be-
else have?
Would it be in keeping with the charter in that this would be 2 increments of 7,500? Now, granted, that's 15,000 altogether and all over the $10,000 threshold. But would the second installment come from the next fiscal year's money?
Oh, I'm not
Yes.
even with the
It would.
10,000
Yes,
piece
it
of
would be
this.
written into the budget.
Yeah, I'm saying for purchases between 5,000 and 9,999, at least 3 price quotes for comparable products. So I don't want to belabor it. I just am making that a point of my discussion because it's in the charter and that's our obligation.
Well, just for the record, could you receive documentation from other companies as to what these higher prices would be and just to put that into the record to accommodate what the charter is asking?
We would never be able to gather that in time to get in on this particular
Oh.
deal.
After the
And-
fact, though.
And it's good, yeah, we could do that after the fact. Yep. If that's what you incline.
I know
That's what I'd
that,
suggest.
even when I was on the budget committee before, previous to this, we were always looking and talking about options, and there wasn't a lot out there. Having reviewed this stuff, I think it's a benefit to the town. And I know our hands, tied to that. We decided to have a document that, held us to a standard, and I also think there's small exceptions here and there. It's not like we didn't do due diligence or nobody did due diligence on it.
Agreed. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Only because it's charter, not because I don't think it's a good product and it will help us. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Robbie.
I think it was nice to meet you.
All right, we will move on to public input. Public in attendance will have up to 5 minutes to address the board. Please use the podium to address the board and please be respectful of others. Public comment. Okay, we'll move along to mail. We don't have any mail. Perfect. Do we have any updates on the franchise agreement? Okay. So item number 3 under unfinished business is updates for logging on Old Ben Davis Road. Do you want to just bring us up to speed with where we're at?
So I met with Rick, the forester, and the timber harvester, and Josh Eon to discuss coming in through Jason's lot, Bullier's property. It does entail Josh's property, so he was part of that conversation. And we met on October 30th, so we were all in agreement to kind of come in through the back lot. And all I'm waiting for is just a written agreement. Rick had mapped out what that access would look like. It's going to be the most minimal on Josh's because we don't want to disturb his property. But then it helps us get access to ours without having to go on Old Ben Davis Road or Duke Lane. So I haven't received written agreement. However, Josh did approach me and he's suggesting that you guys go up Old Ben Davis Road and proposed his own caveats. But my recommendation would be, we find a way to go through the alternative route that we originally were seeking, or we go up Old Ben Davis Road and we just use standard forestry practices. I made it pretty clear that, we wouldn't get into any sort of business dealings with, above and beyond services for any residents or businesses.
Okay.
And that's the update. The forester is said that they are looking probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks to start some timber harvesting. So however you guys want to proceed it, we can treat, go up the road or.
One point of clarification I just want to ask based on what you just said. When you say you're waiting on an agreement, were you waiting on that from Forrester?
Well, what it was, so
Or just
we
like
met
everybody
on
being
the
like,
30th.
yeah, we're on the same page?
Yeah, we met on the 30th with the forester and everyone involved so that everyone's on the same page. Rick drew up what those plans look like so that the access is drawn out,
Yeah.
which I gave to Josh and Jason and just asked them in an informal email, here's what the access would look like, just confirm your agreement.
Okay.
However, if nobody, submits, you have the option to just go, but I don't want to put us in a civil dispute with anybody over property rights.
Right.
So the alternative would be Old Ben Davis Road.
I see you. You would like to come and speak. Come on.
Did you guys have a chance to get the copy of the agreement there that we emailed
Well-
Lindsay last, not the agreement, I think you forwarded.
Yeah, it
My
came
email.
in Friday afternoon, I think, so it didn't.
Yeah,
make
this
it
that
into
has
the
like a
packet, but
list,
I did
like a
forward it to
bulleted.
them.
Yeah, it was, there was also an attachment there, but basically what that entails is there's a few different conditions that are pretty straightforward. And then it also entails, as Lindsay said, the town wouldn't be able to invest any money into it because of certain reasons. What it would entail would be an agreement with the actual logging outfit between the town, the residents, the OBD, and basically that logging outfit. So therefore, there wouldn't be any, it'd be a written agreement with signatures and if any kind of issue arose or whatever. But yeah, so the town wouldn't be part of but basically it just entails the logging outfit coming in afterwards and laying gravel down. That's all. It's 15 loads of gravel along the road.
The concerns I do have with it, since we're on the topic,
Yeah.
is the one that you're talking about, which is just between you and Bullier, or the residents in Bullier, is, that it's talking about like limiting logging to only 2 of the parcels that the town owns, which we own more than 2 parcels within map 3.
Oh, well, no, that's just limiting the use of the road. Those are the only 2 parcels abutting the road, so I didn't really assume there were any other parcels being utilized.
Well, we do own other parcels that they don't abut the road, so I guess it would.
I mean, you can't, yeah, that's all I,
So I just want to pause because I
Mhm.
think everyone has the same question, but I'll just say it.
Mhm.
So initially we had a plan, or the town was going to harvest the property, and the residents of OBD came forward because they had concerns about us using OBD.
Mhm.
Children and the culverts and
Yep.
the road condition and all the things.
Yep.
And I feel like this board did a significant amount of due diligence to try to work together with all of you to come up with how do we come up with a solution, which
Yep.
was let's go in the back way. And so we left this sort of as, hey, everybody, well, not everybody, but if Lindsay, town manager, forester, logger, and property owners coming in the back way want to all have a conversation and see if this makes sense. And last I knew that made sense. And now it's, hold on, wait, let's do all this. So that's why I'm like, where are we, how did we get here?
So
Help me
that made a lot of sense prior to any other options being available. Over the course of the month, between October 31st to 30th, and then when Lindsay got back to me, I was approached by a few different residents,
Mhm.
and talking with them, I think the main point of this whole thing with the town was the fact that, like, okay, we're gonna come in, you're gonna, not you, but
Yeah.
gonna come in, we're gonna mess up the road, right? And then we're just gonna leave, walk off in the sunset, and
I don't
whatever.
think anyone said that though.
No.
Oh, okay.
That I'm not saying you
There
said
was
that.
a thought that
That was
Okay.
the thing. We're like, okay, all of us pitch in,
Yeah.
a few thousands of dollars every year to maintain that road. Well, we have a entity that doesn't
Yeah.
really contribute to this. There's going to come in, crush our culverts, and damage our road. Well, what this does, it goes back to the original issue and just says, hey, like, basically, we get the road repaired afterwards, and it kind of leaves the road in better condition than when you basically before you went in there. You know what I'm saying? It's not a huge ask. I mean, I think 15 loads of gravel isn't much. I think we usually do like 10 to 15 every year. But also it would be part of the operating costs for the logging outfit. But like I said, it would all have to be agreement. And now that this option's on the table, I think my option is going to be off the table, because at the same time, why should I have to burden so I can help? This is a Duke Lane OBD thing. This is like 24 residents. Why is one resident going to take the brunt of everything?
Well, we didn't ask you to take.
No,
the
I know,
front.
I know,
We
I know.
asked if we could come up with a solution that worked for everyone.
Right. And it entails, yeah, I know, I understand.
I think that the bottom line is that at the end of the day, just like anyone that lives on your road
Hmm.
could say, hey, I'm going to harvest my property. They don't have to tell anybody that lives on your road, and they can just have people come down the road.
Yep.
And crunch a culvert, take off and disappear, and nobody has to do anything about it.
Well, we've been through that before.
Yeah, and I went through it with my neighbor too. I guess my frustration is, Josh, like, we have done beyond due diligence to try to work together with the residents and the concerns
Yeah.
that were brought forward.
Yep.
And now I feel like we're right back to square one.
But we're not. We've
Well,
never
You're
been.
not, because you spoke to Bollier and you're coming up with what. you
Oh, I
feel
haven't,
works.
I haven't spoke to Jason about this at all.
If you don't mind, I have a lot of concerns with this because Bullier's not here. I wouldn't feel comfortable. He would have to agree. This would be a totally
Yeah.
private thing that the town has absolutely nothing to do. But yet, within your understandings, you're kind of mapping out how the town.
Those are the same understandings I had if you're using mine. Those are the same ones we discussed in there.
There's a culvert.
No, not the culvert one. The culvert, there's no
Well,
culverts.
but
That's, I'm
we
like,
will-
wait a
We
minute.
own to the center line of the road.
And I own to the other center line of the road.
Right.
Right.
And it's saying, don't touch that road.
Well,
Of course,
Bas-
we would leave your side alone.
Well,
But our
exactly.
side, we have
yep,
the
no,
right.
definitely,
So
definitely.
this is not something I would recommend. I just think this is a little above and beyond. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Madam Chair?
You're giving me a lot of different feelings than you did when we had the office meeting. I'll just say that.
I know, and I want it, I feel
I'm just,
like,
and if like I said, it's not, if the town comes back and like has some comments, or whatever, that's kind of, you know, if you do, you do. I mean, they're either accepted. It's like any kind of well, not like what contract we do, but it's like any kind of negotiation with anything. There's always comments. One side's going to accept them, one side's not going to accept them.
Yeah.
You
I
know what I
don't
mean?
want to negotiate anything on a private road with the residents, because say something happens and it doesn't get followed through, I don't want the town to be hung up on, well, you didn't gravel my road. We can't make that promise, and I was very clear about
No,
that.
I know
since
that.
October 30th.
And that's basically what I'm saying there, Lindsay. I said the town isn't part of this conversation. Like, the contract and the agreement for the gravel is through the logger,
Right,
not
but
the
I'm
town.
like, I'm not here to decide for Jason.
No, he's going to have to figure, like, that's why,
And
so
if
go,
he doesn't, then what?
well, then we don't move forward with it. But this is
Or-
why,
And
this
so
is
we
you.
don't move forward with the backlot and the OBD? Because you're saying that's off the table.
It is, because there's another option
Okay.
now. If the town doesn't want to do it, I don't know what to say, but why am I going to cut my trees? Why am I going to rut my land for the town to profit off I don't think it's I just don't think it's, I don't see the worth. I don't
I'm
see,
not going to work on getting Bollier to agree on that. I just don't want to be mixed in with
Well,
a private
I'm sorry.
deal.
I was running on the assumption that you were like the point of contact for the forester and everybody. So
No.
that's why I was,
Not for a private deal, like grade my road and, you know, we agreed that the insurance company would handle damages. I would even go to bat for you guys if something came up and I had to go, you know, after the insurance company, but
Lindsay, you sat in that office saying, hey, that could be a good idea. Bully could give some deals with the
but
gravel.
he's not
Why don't you-
here to agree with it. So let's
That's
just
fine.
hypothetically say he tells you he doesn't agree with it. Your offer to come in through the back lot's off the table. Now we're back to square one.
I just, coming in through my back lot, it's gonna I'm gonna have to pull 2 property corners, 2 capped iron rods. I gotta take a stone wall out, and I gotta cut 3 trees. I'm also not gonna pay somebody to reset those irons. Like, you know, that's my, you know what I mean? Like, I started thinking about it, and then I had other people come in and basically say, hey, why don't we just do this? Like I said, it is what it is at this point.
Would that be a point of conversation with Mr. Bullier in terms of restoring your property to the way it was before?
I don't want the town
I don't know.
having that conversation, so you
I'm
shouldn't even be
not,
talking about it because it's implied.
I'm just throwing it out there for conversation between Mr. Eon and Mr. Bullier.
And that's
Not-
exactly what
But
I
Mr.
told him.
Bollier is hired by the town, correct? Through the forester.
Right,
So we shouldn't be coordinating any of that because we aren't doing that with any of the other parcels.
All right, this is me just asking, are any of the other parcels on private roads? Do you guys know?
I don't know off the top of my
yeah,
head.
off the top of my head, I don't have that information.
I believe that is, to get access to at least a couple of the other parcels, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
you
but
have
we're
to-
looking at 10 to 11 parcels,
Right.
Joe, we're not, I mean, there's a whole bunch, so I don't
Yeah, I
have
was
that
curious.
information right in front of me to be able to answer it accurately.
Well, that's all I got, so thank you.
Thanks.
Any other discussion on that tonight?
Yes. Okay, I'm Brian.
Hold on, wait, hold
All
on.
right.
We're not gonna go back and forth tonight. I invited Josh up because he was the property owner that was at the onsite. And this specific item was just for updates. This was, I'm really sorry, but we've engaged in a lot of them back and forth with this one. And we've spent a lot of time and we've tried to do our due diligence on this, but it's clearly just not working. So
Understood. I had it.
that's where we're at.
Well, can I ask one more thing, Jessica?
One more, if you come to the microphone for me, please.
Um,
I'm not trying, please, no, I'm
No, I
not trying to be
understand.
difficult. It's just really frustrating that we've gone round and round and round about
I
this.
understand. I don't take offense to it.
I know.
It's all professional. So I guess the town will just let us know, or let the town of Lyman know, I guess, however you guys want to proceed.
Yep.
Yeah, the only thing is, like I said, like Lindsay said, you know, the town owns to the center, I own to the center, and same thing with any resident on the OBD, it all goes to the center line, right? So just as long as no trees are touching anybody else's property, you know what I'm saying, that kind of deal.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there you go. That's all I got.
Does Dave have any input to that since he worked worked on that.
Dave, you're in the box. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I'm in the box. Not that, you know, I hear where Josh is coming from. But when you log and you have a right of way, the logger can take down the trees as long as he leaves the wood for the owner. And in this case, the owner of that particular stretch of land would be Josh's.
Dave,
Yes, sir.
so that you can take the trees down, but you also, there's an option. We're not, if those trees are touched, we're gonna have some big issues. Because what's gonna happen is, I don't know, that maybe we should have this conversation outside of, I'm just saying if we're gonna touch my trees, we're gonna have bigger issues on our hands. I've been pretty cordial this whole time. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. But Dave, if you'd like to talk at some other point, I don't need any more firewood. Let's just say that. So.
Okay. We're going to jump into department and committee reports. Fire chief, all hands. I know this says that our total incidents we're at 986, but I know we're over 1,000 now.
We are.
You want to come on up, because I think you're part B of this too.
What's that?
I said if you want to come up, because you're part B of this too.
Yeah, no, our call volume as of today is 1,023.
Oh, man.
We are
That went up
Beyond
quite
the-
significantly since last Thursday.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, sorry. I can't remember where I was last Monday afternoon. But I
Five
didn't
early when I was
get.
trying to.
No, that's all right. My weekly all hands has been not quite weekly, but I think that's reflective of the call volume. So yeah, things at the fire station other than that are going well. And with that, they're still going well, but we are definitely a lot busier than we were last year. I know that 986 included about 45 or 50 storm related calls last December. And we haven't seen that this December. We did see it back April, March, but
Here's to gentle winter storm.
1023 is a good pace, but if we see another winter storm like that, it will certainly be high.
We can jump into part 2. I think you have a request for some money.
I do. There's a letter, there's a bunch of information in your packet. We're looking to replace the 2011 Chevy 2500 pickup truck that we use as a service truck and the 2016 used police car command vehicle.
I think I mentioned this last meeting,
Yep.
just in passing, that we had been talking about it. We continued to talk about it the last meeting, and we came to a unanimous conclusion that this should happen, especially for the service truck, which is so rusty and requires so much money, and then we're still gonna have a 2011 service truck, and we just don't think it's good value. And the command vehicle was a 2016, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that was, when you got that was a well-used state police vehicle?
City of Saco.
City of Saco vehicle. And it's an Explorer chassis. It's a medium, so it's medium duty, and it's not really heavy enough to feel safe in when the roads are crap, is it?
And it's not.
You drive it, I'm asking.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you.
So, and that's also on the 2011 service truck was scheduled 2 years ago to be
20.
replaced,
2021.
and it was deferred, and I wasn't part of that conversation, and the 2016 is due. So what we are looking for is 125,500, which makes 62,750 from each town, of which there is money in the reserve account for that.
Right. And those prices are based, I would guess, to say worst case scenario, because it's very hard to go car shopping without a checkbook. So without having approval, it's hard to go shopping. So what I did was I got quotes to order vehicles from the factory, and that would be a set price that I could go 2-3 weeks, months with and feel comfortable that they're not going to change when I go and hopefully make a purchase.
And I believe there was $2,000 that we're gonna get for trade-in value on one, and then the sale of the other one.
Would be
Would be
another
another
$2,000.
$2,000, and was that included in the upfitting, or was that a separate part of it?
That's separate. I didn't include that in the pricing,
Okay.
but my assumption would be the $2,000 for a trade would come off of that 125. And then the sale of the vehicle would not be able to go back into the reserve account until it's voted at a town meeting to go back into it,
That was the part that I was.
which is my understanding.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
So Matt, you're asking for, as you say, worst case scenario, 62,750. Dayton would be kicking in a comparable amount.
The same.
You know when their next select board meeting is for this presentation?
The 23rd. It's next Monday night.
Oh, it's next Monday. I was thinking I thought he said they jumped to.
Okay.
That must be next month.
And
Yeah, I think
in terms of what we have in the reserve account right now, is it somewhere in the ballpark of 99,000? Is that correct?
yes.
Okay, and does that include the 60,000 that was most recently appropriated from town meeting?
I believe that includes the 60, but 55 has already come out to make the payment on the lease. If I said that. She's right there.
Are you talking about me?
Nope.
Yes.
Just how much is in the reserve account for the fire equipment?
I'll tell you that one.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Just
I believe those are the numbers we discussed when we sat with Janet the other day, but I don't
Yeah,
want
we
to.
came and talked to Jeanette the other day.
I don't want to speak off.
And when you did that 62,750.
It was
Covered.
discussed, yes, and there was plenty in there to cover that.
And the replacement of these two vehicles, this was already put into the reserve account in increments? Or
Yes.
are we gonna be on,
We are still on schedule for
Okay.
everything else in the capital equipment. No, sorry,
In the
that's a different one. The
vehicle?
capital vehicle, we're
Yeah,
still
okay.
on track.
Okay.
Everything goes out another 15 years and does not drop below zero.
Did you want just the vehicle?
yes, please.
104,354. That's it. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll make a motion to approve the $62,750 from the GMFR vehicle reserve account to replace these two vehicles.
Second it.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
he waits so we can hear.
I know.
Thank you.
Is there a delay on that?
It probably is, yeah.
Oh,
No.
He waits.
No,
so that I can
it's-
show you
it's right
his
on.
face.
I've never used it, so I didn't know.
All right, and then we have the expense report and the town clerk's November report in the packet. Channel my inner Rusty and just share there was no boat registrations this month.
No,
He used to always announce those.
no ice boats,
No,
no ice yet.
so I guess we're good.
Just a little skim in the morning.
All right, we will move on to item 5, new business. So, letter A is to review and approve a Parks and Rec expendable funds account.
Yeah.
So this is, correct me if I'm wrong, Lindsay, this is similar to some of those accounts that we've approved over the past couple months. So
Yep,
they have the
it's-
ability to raise funds and place them in a place. where
Yeah,
they
for
can-
like fundraising
Yep.
and donations and stuff like that.
I'll make a motion to approve a Parks and Rec expendable funds account.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, we have to appoint a registrar of voters
Every 2 years.
every 2 years, okay?
So currently it's new.
And you wish to continue?
I'll make a motion to appoint Lindsay Gagne for Register of Voters.
Second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Oh, sorry, did you have?
Just a quick question. About how many folks are registered on election day
Like
last
how
month?
many new?
Yeah, I noticed that there's a significant line of just that
So we had
curiosity.
119 new voters
Wow.
on election day. But probably leading up to it, we went from like 3,800 voters to 42.
Wow, that's
Thank you.
impressive.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Next, we have a discussion on a facilities request / scheduling software.
So this is something Jeanette and I were looking into. It's called My Rec Pricing, and we've talked about scheduling stuff like field use before. So the pricing is based off of like your annual revenues, but because we're not really making revenues right now, they would start us at the lowest tier. And we did a demo. I just kind of put this out here for discussion. You can mull it over if you want. There's no rush to like jump into it. Because, if we do decide to modify things and say we want to rent the Pines or we want to rent the fields or even just renting like the town hall or something like the meeting room, this would be a great interactive online place where you can go and request, make reservations, pay through credit card online. You can also do it like, over the phone. If they were just going to give me their information, I could plug it in and get them going. So it would help us with like facilitating those kinds of things.
I think I like that idea too.
Mhm.
Yeah. And if you go like, I think Biddeford, Berwick, South Berwick, a lot of other towns in the area use it.
This specific one?
Yeah, so we played around with other towns just to see, like, you can't always see their pricings, but like, it's just like we've talked about the RSU 57, if we were to schedule to use the school facilities, they have a big calendar and you can see like what's available, or you can plug in a date and it'll either tell you it's available or it's not available. You can just do requests and payments, everything right through there. And it's expandable as well. So if we wanted to do something like, I don't know, a craft fair or something, it could be like an online,
Registration.
registration for this craft fair, $5 yoga or something like that. So there's definitely room to like expand on it.
I think that really sounds good, that since we have been talking about fee structures and rentals and
Yeah.
things like that, that kind of takes the burden off, and we're not, like she said, we don't have to decide on anything tonight. Let them mull that over and kind of see where it goes. Have we heard anything from what we spoke of last meeting about the why?
Nope, I did finalize everything. I sent it over their way. So I imagine they're reviewing it. I let them know if they have questions, they can reach out to me. I'll probably give them till like after the holidays. I imagine, just the holidays make everything kind of wonky. Before I reach out and say, hey, just want to check in. So no, I'll keep in touch with them. But yeah, if it's something we want to implement too, like, we've talked about maybe we take over the Pines because, the Y wasn't really promoting it. But if we can kind of find a way to promote it, this might be something I start with to help with the reservations for the Pines. I might want to start it in like February, March, April to like, as we start, because that's usually when they would get reservations about March from like other parks and recs. But I think it would be great to try to network with just, I was looking at the Pines rentals this last season. So according to YMCA, we rented it 12 times. So that's once a week.
Wow.
So I would love to find ways to try to promote that area, especially if they're gonna like add the ramps and stuff to it and clean it up and get the chapel looking nice. So yeah, no rush to like jump on this, but definitely I would consider it. I think it would make scheduling easier.
Oh, yeah, streamlined.
What were some of the towns that you said? Had it-
Bedford was one,
So,
Berwick, South Berwick, off the top of my head.
No, that's all right. I would just like
Yeah.
to go, like,
Work it into
go
budget.
on and.
I honestly, I just Googled it and then Jeanette found they were using the MyRec program. She just looked at their program and then called the number and talked to a sales rep. So we started getting information for it.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Again, would the Parks and Rec Committee responsible for using this software?
It all depends, because we're kind of talking about like changing things and everything. If I had an employee person, I would want them responsible. Because it's a town thing, it's an asset. So that stuff hasn't really been ironed out quite
But
yet.
in the interim,
Could expand, I think it could expand to that.
Okay.
As an option.
so should we table this for now?
Yeah, if you
Yeah, I
guys
think
want
it was
to
just
table
a-
it, you can.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was just a discussion. anyway.
Yeah, it's a discussion thing. I think honestly, like, as we get going in budget discussions, because we haven't quite started that yet,
Yeah.
I just wanted you to be aware this is something we're looking at, because it will come into play with your budgeting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you necessarily want to table it, or just kind of wait until we get through budget.
That's kind of,
Yeah, I think it's part of budget conversation.
yeah, that's where I was headed when I said we don't have to decide on this today, so we'll mull it over and see how other things go.
Okay.
And if it works in, then
Yeah.
work it in then.
Next up, we have review/approve. We have a quote for to insulate the Butternut ticket booth.
Yeah, last summer, it has no insulation right now, so the air conditioning units, we tried 2 different kinds, a floor one, and then we had one installed in the wall, and it's just not cooling that building. So you're gonna have to insulate it or do something to keep
Yeah.
the cooled air contained.
I know the former one was insulated
Yeah.
because we tore it apart, we tore it down, so I know it was
Fun.
insulated.
Sorry, on which account would this not be?
So you could do Bunganut, project reserve or capital improvement.
I'd be in favor of that.
Me too.
Someone has a motion.
Move that we approve the quote from Bob Dooling for the amount of $1,410 to be taken from the Bunganut Project Reserve for the installation of insulation in the Bunganut booth.
That was a tongue twister motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I mean, $1,400 to insulate and board that up. I know I probably don't have to tell anybody that this should have been done when it was purchased, before it got delivered, and we probably would have saved money. But second of all, I mean, are you saying, and I know we had a couple of weeks of really intense heat there, but otherwise, if you're going to spend $1,400 on that, you're basically paying for electricity for 4 or 5 years, I'm willing to bet. So with that said, I'm going to be a nay.
Or do you have a solution, Dave?
Yeah, you're going to have to,
'Cause travel
yeah,
doesn't come.
have a fan. keep the door open, have a fan. I mean, I don't see the benefit to it right now.
Yeah, the problem is, working conditions for employees, so there's fair labor laws, you know. if you say we're
And
gonna stick it in the booth,
but whose employees?
Technically, they're working for YMCA, but they're doing bidding for the town, so.
I guess that's where my issue is. They're
if you
not town
wanna
employees.
volunteer during the summer and you wanna sit in the booth and do ticket sales, you know.
I do not.
Okay, are you sure?
I'm just letting you know my feelings.
I understand. I did go out there, I mean, we tried to work out a couple different things, we tried putting like
Tried to move the whole AC
foam board
unit
up
too,
by
right?
the roof, it just didn't work. It was pretty hot, so.
Any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
All-
Nay,
Oh, I was gonna say all opposed. I knew where you were going.
thank you.
Thanks, Dave. All right. Next up, we have review and approve a quote for Eagle Scout supplies. And I believe this is for the project at Bunganuck, correct? Yeah. Perfect. I don't want to make you just sit here and not say anything, but if you want to do you want to come up and tell us a little bit what you're going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
So I'm with Troop. My name is Colin. I'm here with Troop 399.
Yeah.
And we're we're reestablishing the trails that were once in that area.
Yeah.
There's a blue trail and we made a red trail that connects to the blue trail.
Oh.
And they're all overgrown, so we're gonna go and equip it and reestablish it.
Fantastic.
And I don't know how to say this. Let's see if I get money for building the benches
Yeah.
and the kiosk that's gonna have the trail map and other stuff on it.
Okay. Great. So the total on that one is $619.20.
Is there enough now in the Bunganuck
There's
account?
enough in
We
the
just
Bunganuck
took some
account.
out for the
There
installation.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact amount off the top of my head.
If there's enough to cover that, I'd like to do the same thing.
Is that a motion?
Is it a motion?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'll make a motion that we request $619.20 from the Bunganuck. What is that account name?
Project Reserve.
Project Reserve account. The sum of $619.20, but I didn't already say that.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Perfect. Discussion on it?
Yeah, I'm trying to find his write-up. I wanted to let him know where he totally sold his service. He said something to the effect that he was going to basically supervise and make sure that the volunteers stayed focused. After I stopped just cracking up and thinking that this is one well-adjusted man here, that he the best of luck to you, my friend. The only thing that I would ask is that no nails or screws be put in any trees for signage, just because of, future, somebody happens to cut down that or whatever, you're gonna have an issue. So anything you use, just non-metal in the trees, if you're doing that.
Yeah, the trees will have painting on them. They already have markings. They're just faded, so we're just gonna repaint them.
Perfect.
Just the blaze.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on this?
Just encourage Colin to
Thank you.
hold on to all of your receipts. And again, thank you for all the work on this.
Nice hat.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Good to go. All right. Then we have item F, which is to review and approve CEO updates to the permit fee schedule.
Any questions? I might be able to help answer some of them.
There wasn't any major updates other than she kind of cleaned it up a little bit. I don't know that it's new. I think she added, because it does say in the ordinance, you have to permit home occupations, and then there's marijuana annual inspection fees and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So she summarized that. She added a best practical location, which is planning board review, because she's starting, I think if those come in, those are gonna go to the planning board. And she added a private way application review, and that's for the staff review. That's part of the street design criteria. So it's just to cover costs for administration, mailing out, abutter notices and newspaper ads and stuff like that.
So do you know the three permits or 3 fees that she removed? Were those just not needed, or were they not used? Like driveway permits,
Yeah.
zoning letter, and conditional use?
Yeah, so driveway permits, there's nothing in the ordinance that says you have to have a driveway permitted, and she didn't know where that originated from, so
Okay.
she just took it out because then it became a question of like, who issues the permit? There's no standards for it.
Mhm.
What was the other one? You said conditional use.
And zoning letter?
Yeah, she didn't know what zoning letter was. Again, it just might have been something put in there a long time ago. She's not using that or doesn't see a reason to charge people
Okay.
for it. Conditional use was another confusing one, because site plan review for planning board fell under site plan review. So planning board they can put conditions on something that they approve, but they would write that up in their notice of decision, so she didn't understand why there's a separate fee for conditional use.
Okay.
So she just felt like this cleaned it up a little bit and made it a little less confusing for her as well as the.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Conditional use permits were discontinued some time back. I guess it just stayed on the schedule
Yeah,
as an oversight, that's all.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, she figured some stuff was just in there, just didn't get taken out, it was oversight. Yeah.
And I need to make a motion to approve the updates to the permit fee schedule.
Second it then.
Any additional discussion on that?
Yeah,
Yeah, one at a time, please. Dave,
so are any of these the ones that got increased a year or so ago?
No, I don't believe so. So like planning, I'm not sure which ones you're talking about. Planning board, site plan review is $250. She went up on that because I think there was like one application that came in that just sending out the letters to the abutters, it has to go certified mail, it cost nearly $250. So, I mean, the administrative.
But that price is borne by the applicant.
Yeah, because why would do you want to pay for your neighbor's project, right? It's not your project, but do you want to pay for the review of your neighbor's project? Does that make sense?
I
think what
no,
you're saying is that the applicant pays for the postage.
but the applicant pays for it.
They submit the mailing, like the labels, they don't pay for the postage. We have to send it out of our
then-
office.
Then I should probably put in for reimbursement. Because I've had to in the past.
But I think we changed that with a different CEO. I can't speak to like however you were treated in the past. I probably.
No, not treated. That's the way it was. I wasn't treated any other way than anybody else. I'm just saying. If it got changed, then it got changed when I wasn't here. But as far as I knew, the applicant paid for that.
We don't break it down anymore. That's the only change that I'm aware of. Like, we don't sit there and go exactly how many stamps and how many pieces of paper and how much toner was used and how much planning board clerk time was used and CEO time was used and how many hours did the planning board review the site plan review versus reviewing somebody else's. We just ask for a lump sum that covers the general administrative cost. So it lessens the burden on taxpayers. So it comes from the applicant
and the taxpayers aren't supporting it. Now, each application is gonna vary
Right.
from one to the other.
So you do your best to make it a number that
Yeah.
sometimes. Okay.
Madam Chair, would mind some input from the public?
Sure.
Ken Bird, 29 Bull Farm Road, Lyman. A shorefront property owner. If you would take and look at your building fee schedule that was signed 3/20/2023, there is no dock fee on there. Has there always been a dock fee, or was it left off? This year, on your new schedule, you're adding a $60 dock fee, which they have already started collecting.
That is correct. So again, looking in the zoning ordinance, it's a permit required by the CEO if you're doing a temporary dock. So the permit, like we're allowed to, or the select board can approve the scheduling fee schedule because it helps cover the administrative costs. Again, it just lessens the burden on taxpayers who aren't contributing to that dock or building or whatever it is. So it may not have been applied to before, but that could have just been prior CEOs or however it was handled before. But now it's become apparent that docks have to be permitted. And this was brought up by, I think, originally the planning board because a dock issue had come to their meetings and they were trying to handle it. And so it's just become a thing now that we're getting dock requests.
My point to this is, on this schedule that's not there, this schedule is here. You haven't approved the schedule, but they're already collecting it. When you're going to sign. They're already collecting the $60 fine.
Okay. Joe, did you have others?
No, that was the,
Does anyone else have discussion on this? All in favor?
aye.
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 That was an aye, Dave?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for coming, Colin.
Thank you.
And Holly, and Holly.
Yeah.
Alright, so item number 6 is to review and approve the meeting minutes from December 2nd.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion on those?
just that we add in the minutes for this meeting, the amount that was approved. Let me see, we're item 5, A, accepting a quote from Bob Dooling for $2,700 for the work that was being done at Bogna. We didn't specify that before, so just as we did with the minutes here,
Okay, gotcha.
just so that that amount is, and the recipient is mentioned.
Any other discussion on those? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we will move on to payroll warrant number 25 in the amount of $40,702.33.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain because I'm getting money on this one.
Then we'll move on to accounts payable warrant number 26 in the amount of $78,795.71.
So moved.
second,
Any discussion on this one?
I would like to point out that recycling was up. So we had $13,474.59 in tipping fees for MSW and $1,010.75 for recycling tipping. So we recycled more this month.
Nice.
Yeah. And then,
Public service announcements are paying off.
guilting people into recycling, maybe, I don't know. Lindsay, do you know what the Bunganut Pond Bridge was? 1,500 for Tinker Tom?
That was the bridge.
That
That
was,
was when Dave had brought to you guys a bunch of different numbers and,
We did demo, right?
yeah, there was a
Okay, so-
demo,
and
gravel.
Yes.
putting the,
Okay, so
putting
that's-
those
He
Okay,
helped get
Poles
the
back in?
poles over to the
Okay.
other side.
Mhm.
Amber, that's only for one contractor. Another contractor is gonna have the same amount.
okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
And we'll move on to accounts payable warrant number 27 in the amount of 7,500.
So moved.
So moved.
Sorry.
Did somebody second it instead of moving it?
Mhm. I'll second it.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Nay.
that was for the
Town clerk.
town club deposit.
All right.
Like that. Signage.
I guess I'll make a motion to go into executive session for one MRSA 405C, discussion regarding the condition or acquisition of real property.
Second it.
Any discussion on that?
Just a question, does this deal with an abatement issue?
I'm assuming so.
Then also, MRSA, 841, 2E would also be applicable as well. Because it requires executive sessions for discussion of abatements.
Okay.
It's not
That's
an
all.
abatement.
Is it not an abatement
It's not
or is it
abatement.
abatement? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Good night,
Thank
thank
you.
Have a
you.
good night.
Thank you.